After a shortened regular season, the Stanley Cup playoffs are finally here. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't watch as much hockey this season as I wanted to. And a big reason for that is because I'm not really a fan of this playoff format. I'm really not. And the reason why that is because it's separated by divisions, and I'm not really a fan of that. I'm more of a fan of the old way where it was the top 8 seeds in each conference, that those were the teams. I'm not a fan of this method that we have because it's just basically until you get to the semifinals, it's just playing within your division, and that's what they've been doing for the entire season pretty much. So I'm not really a fan of this format. I'm just hoping that they at least make somewhat changes to their playoffs in the near future. But without further ado, let's get to my Stanley Cup playoff predictions. And I do think that there will be a storyline for this Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, there will probably be a couple. So I'm going to start off in the North. Toronto and Montreal. Now, Toronto, they have seemed to struggle to get past the first round. While Montreal, they made the round of the field of 16 last season after beating Pittsburgh in the qualifying round. But I think that this is going to be finally that moment where Toronto, they make it past the first round. And I'm going to have this be decided in 6 games. Edmonton and Winnipeg. And I think that a good storyline is going to get set up here. And we get to see Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid go against each other in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I'm going to pick Edmonton in this one. And I actually think that this will be decided in 5. I thought about going with the clean sweep here for Edmonton, but I think Winnipeg gets at least 1. Moving on into the East Division now, we've got the Penguins of Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders. The Penguins have really had inferior performances ever since their back-to-back Stanley Cup wins. But I think that the Penguins, they'll at least make it past the first round. But I think the Islanders will make them earn this one. So the Islanders will compete with them from start to finish. And I actually think Pittsburgh will win in 6 games. I thought about it maybe going to 7, but I think they'll get past the Islanders in 6. Next, we've got the Washington Capitals and Boston Bruins. I think that this is going to be the best matchup of this first round. And I am going to go with the Bruins. It would be exciting to watch Crosby and Ovechkin again in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I think the Bruins, I think they win in 7 games. Going on to into the West now, we've got Colorado and St. Louis. Colorado, they do seem like one of the favorites to win the Stanley Cup, as they did the best out of any team in the regular season. But the Blues, they've got some playoff experience going on deep runs. But I'm going to go with Colorado. But I think the Blues will make them earn this one. I think the Blues, they make them compete. I think the Avalanche only take it in 7 games. Next, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. And I am going to go with Vegas. I think Vegas wins this in 6 games. Going on into the Central Division now, we've got the Hurricanes and the Predators of Nashville. And I think that we're going to see an upset here. I think Nashville is going to pull off the upset, and I think they win in 7 games over the Hurricanes. Next, we have Florida and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay does seem like a big favorite, not only in the series, but throughout the entire playoffs. As the defending champions, Kucherov should be back for the playoffs, and Stamkos should be back as well. So I think the Lightning will win this series, and I think it's going to be a clean sweep. So moving on into the second round now, Toronto and Edmonton, this is going to be an epic battle if we were to get this. But I will pick Edmonton. I just think the Maple Leafs run in the playoffs this season will be once again cut short. So I have Edmonton moving on to the semifinals. Next, we have the Avalanche and the Golden Knights. And I am going to go with the Golden Knights. I mean, the Golden Knights, they weren't far off from the Avalanche as far as the best team of the regular season. So I am going with Vegas, which, by the way, I forgot to say that I think Edmonton beats Toronto in 7, and I think the Golden Knights win in 6. Next, we've got Pittsburgh and Boston. And I feel like this series is going to be a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. And Nashville and Tampa Bay, I've got to go with the defending champions here. I just think it's hard to pick against defending champions until at least the semifinals. At least with the way that these divisions line up. So now we are at the semifinals now. You've got the Golden Knights and the Oilers. And I'm going to go with the Golden Knights. So I have the Golden Knights advancing to the Stanley Cup final. And now we have Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. And I think this is going to come down to Game 7. I think Pittsburgh takes this in 7 games. By the way, I apologize. I forgot to say I have the Golden Knights beating Edmonton in 5 games. So when you look at this Stanley Cup final matchup between Vegas and Pittsburgh, I do think that this is going to set up a very interesting storyline, because we have got the Golden Knights looking for their first Stanley Cup championship in the history of their franchise, and only their 4th year of existence. And the Golden Knights are led by Marc-Andre Fleury. And what better way to win your first Stanley Cup for your franchise than to have your goaltender take down his former team? I think that would be a very interesting storyline. I think that's what the storyline is going to be. Now, either way, you have a great storyline. As long as you have Pittsburgh coming out of the East, you have got a very interesting storyline. Well, if this was the semifinals, I mean, even if it's Edmonton, you have right now the greatest player in the NHL, at least the greatest NHL player of this era, going up against potentially the next great NHL player in Connor McDavid. So either way, what a storyline. But Vegas versus Pittsburgh, I have in 6 games the Vegas Golden Knights winning the Stanley Cup. The Golden Knights get their first Stanley Cup championship in franchise history. The number of total goals scored in the Stanley Cup final throughout all games. I think this is going to be a very high scoring series. So I'm going to go with 27 goals. So those are my Stanley Cup playoff predictions. Comment your predictions down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you next time.